This is the reason your living room feels messy, even after you have cleaned every surface and organized every shelf. You might blame the kids' toys or that pile of mail, but the real culprit is often the furniture itself. In 2026, interior psychologists identified that visual weight, not just physical mess, is a primary trigger for elevated cortisol levels in the home. A room filled with expensive pieces can still feel chaotic if the layout ignores how our brains process space. We are going to fix 7 specific furniture mistakes that shrink your room and create invisible clutter, starting with a layout error that almost everyone makes. The first mistake is something designers call the perimeter panic, and it is the single fastest way to make a large room feel small and a small room feel unfinished. Your instinct tells you to push the sofa against one wall, the chairs against another, and the bookshelf into a corner to create a big open space in the middle. But this doesn't create space. It creates a void. When you line everything up around the edges, you are essentially designing a waiting room, not a living area. This arrangement leaves a dead zone in the center that serves no function, forcing guests to shout across the room to hold a conversation. It also highlights the empty floor space in a way that makes the furniture feel disconnected, as if the pieces are trying to escape the room rather than inhabit it. To cure the perimeter panic, you must be brave enough to float your furniture. Pull the sofa at least 3 to 4 inches off the wall to create a shadow line, or move it several feet into the room to define a specific zone. In 2026, the trend of micro-zoning has taken over, because it works. By anchoring your seating arrangement in the center of the room, you create a cozy conversation circle that feels intentional. If you have an open concept space, using the back of a sofa to act as a divider separates the living area from the dining space without needing a wall. This instantly removes the visual clutter of a room that lacks definition. The space behind the floating sofa doesn't go to waste either, as it becomes a walkway or a spot for a console table, adding depth where there was once just a flat, boring wall. A room suffers from the polka dot effect when it is filled with too many small, separate pieces of furniture. You might have a small love seat, 2 tiny side chairs, a little ottoman, 3 different side tables, and a plant stand. Individually, these pieces are fine, but together they act like visual confetti. Your eye cannot rest because it is constantly darting from one small object to the next. This creates a high-frequency visual noise that registers as clutter, even if the room is tidy. Designers often see this in small apartments, where owners buy apartment-sized furniture, thinking it will save space. Instead, a dozen small items eat up more visual bandwidth than 3 large ones. It creates a dollhouse look that feels fragile and temporary, lacking the confidence of a well-designed space. The antidote to the polka dot effect is consolidation. Trade those 2 flimsy accent chairs for one large armchair that commands presence. Swap the cluster of small plant stands for a single tall bookshelf or a credenza. A large sectional sofa in a small room often looks better than a petite sofa and 2 chairs because it unifies the space into one clean, continuous line. This principle is called thoughtful restraint. By reducing the number of individual outlines in the room, you calm the visual landscape. Your brain has fewer objects to process, which instantly lowers the perceived clutter. Don't be afraid of big furniture in small spaces. as one large statement piece anchors the room and tricks the eye into thinking the space is grander than it actually is. Nothing sabotages a living room faster than a rug that is too small. We call this the postage stamp mistake. You buy a 5 by 7 rug because it is cheaper or you love the pattern. But when you place it in front of the sofa, it floats there like a lonely island. This visual gap between your furniture and the rug creates a disjointed look. It tells your brain that the living zone is tiny, restricted only to that small patch of fabric. Visually, it chops the floor into awkward blocks consisting of a strip of wood, a patch of rug, and another strip of wood. This fragmentation makes the room feel smaller and messier because the foundation of your design is literally falling short. A rug's job is to unite the furniture, not to sit separately from it. The rule for 2026 remains the golden standard of design, where the front legs of all your main seating pieces must sit on the rug. The rug should extend 8 to 12 inches past the sides of your sofa. This front legs on approach physically connects the sofa to the chairs and the coffee table, locking them into a single, cohesive unit. If you have a massive room, you can go for an all legs on look, but never have no legs on. If you already own a vintage rug that you love but is too small, do not throw it out. Layer it on top of a larger, inexpensive jute or sisal rug that is the correct size. This framing trick gives you the texture and coverage you need while highlighting the special piece in the center. Visual weight is different from physical weight. A black leather sofa that sits directly on the floor with no legs looks heavier than a white linen sofa raised on wooden legs, even if they are the same size. The mistake here is filling a room with only heavy pieces, such as a skirted sofa, a solid wood coffee table like a trunk, and chunky armchairs that touch the floor. When you block the view of the floor underneath your furniture, the room feels stuffed. It reduces the visible square footage of the floor, which is one of the key metrics your brain uses to judge the size of a room. If you can't see the floor, your brain assumes the room is crowded. This creates a boxy, suffocating atmosphere that feels cluttered regardless of how organized you are. You need to introduce leggy furniture to let the room breathe. If you have a heavy, solid sofa, pair it with a coffee table that has thin metal legs or a glass top. The transparency and open space allow light to pass through and let you see the floor extending underneath the furniture. This concept is key in the warm minimalism trend of 2026. You don't need to get rid of your comfortable, chunky sofa, but you must balance it. Ensure that at least half of your furniture pieces are raised off the ground on visible legs. This creates a sense of airflow and makes the room feel lighter. It is a simple optical illusion, where the more floor you reveal, the less cluttered the room feels. Walking into a furniture store and buying the entire matching set, including the sofa, the love seat, and the armchair, all in the same gray fabric, is a trap. It seems like a safe choice that guarantees everything goes together, but it actually creates a flat, heavy look. This is the showroom syndrome. When every piece of furniture has the exact same texture, color, and style, the room lacks depth. It feels generate, like a hotel lobby rather than a home. This uniformity makes the room feel cluttered because the lack of variety makes the mass of furniture stand out as one giant, monotonous block. Without contrast, your eye glazes over, and the room feels heavy and uninspired. Break up the set. If you have the matching sofa and love seat, try moving the love seat to another room and replacing it with two contrast chairs. The goal is to coordinate, not match. In 2026, the most stylish homes mix materials, like a velvet sofa paired with leather armchairs, or a boucle sectional with a wooden accent chair. This variety creates layers of interest. If you cannot afford new furniture, use textiles to break the uniformity. Throw blankets and pillows in contrasting textures can disrupt the wall of fabric effect. A collected room feels intentional and spacious because each piece stands on its own merit, creating a rhythm that guides the eye pleasantly around the space. Scale is the relationship between the size of objects in a room, and getting it wrong is a major cause of visual tension. The most common offender is the coffee table. A tiny coffee table sitting in front of a massive sectional looks like a mistake, leaving awkward gaps that make the room feel unfinished. A coffee table that is too high or too wide, however, makes the space feel cramped and difficult to navigate. This is the Goldilocks fail, where pieces are either too big or too small, but rarely just right. Another frequent issue is side tables that are shorter than the arm of the sofa, making them visually disappear and functionally useless. When proportions are off, the brain registers the room as wrong or chaotic. You can fix this with a simple measuring tape and the 2/3 rule. Your coffee table should be approximately 2/3 the length of your sofa. This creates a balanced look where the table is large enough to serve the sofa, but not so big that it dominates. For height, the coffee table should be the same height as the sofa seat, or 1 to 2 inches lower, never higher. Place it about 18 inches from the sofa, which is the sweet spot that allows for comfortable legroom while keeping drinks within reach. When you nail these mathematical proportions, the furniture locks into place visually. The room feels correct and orderly without you having to do anything else. The final mistake turns your living room into an obstacle course. This happens when furniture placement ignores the natural flow of traffic. If you have to turn sideways to squeeze between a chair and an ottoman, or if you have to walk all the way around a sofa to get to the seating area, your layout is failing. We often try to cram too much function into one room, placing a desk or a play area in a spot that blocks a walkway. This physical friction creates psychological clutter. Every time you bump your shin or have to alter your path, your brain registers a microaggression from your environment. A room that is difficult to move through will always feel messy, no matter how clean it is. The solution is to respect the negative space. Interior design standards dictate a minimum of 30 to 36 inches for major walkways. If a piece of furniture encroaches on this zone, it needs to go. Walk through your room and notice where you naturally want to step. If a chair is in that path, move it. Sometimes this means accepting that your room can only handle one sofa and not a sofa plus love seat combo. By clearing the arteries of the room, you allow energy and people to move freely. This invisible flow is what makes high-end homes feel so luxurious. It is not just about what is in the room, but about the empty space that allows the room to breathe. A cluttered home often leads to a cluttered mind. But the solution isn't always about throwing things away. Sometimes It is just about where you put them. By respecting scale, flow, and visual weight, you can transform a chaotic room into a sanctuary without spending a dime. These design principles are timeless because they cater to how humans naturally perceive safety and order. If you found these layout tips helpful for your own home, subscribe to the channel for more deep dives into the psychology of design, and I will see you in the next video.